What is good, everybody? What is good? It's Big Game James, and I'm with the new and upper comer right here, Miss StarGazer Sports Media is finally with me. I've been seeing her going. Hey, she be going ham. She be going ham on the Twitter. She be talking a lot of noise on that Twitter. It's good to have her. This is the first initial show of the Big Star Show, and we're talking about some Cowboys, 53-man roster, all that good stuff. But I'm talking a lot right now. What's good with you, and how are you doing today, Miss Star?
What's up, Big? What's up, guys? Glad to see you guys tonight. This is super exciting for me as a baby content creator of the new media, is what we're calling ourselves. And to be doing this show with Big, I call him the godfather of the content creators. So I'm just super excited to be on the platform today to start this collaboration that we're doing. And hopefully we can get into some things today about the team and just give you guys our insights on what's going to be going on because starting next Sunday, we will be playing Dallas Cowboys football. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going down. I love the hat, by the way. You feel
Thank
me?
you.
That hat is dope. Let me give a few shout outs to everybody since coming in the building. Raymond, Boothang, Kevin Hicks, Michael Autry, Justin D was good with you. Los was good. Stephen Arthur, C. Burleson was good. Keep on coming in. Keep on coming in. Matthew, Dallas Cowboys. Let's go. Let's get it. Well, obviously, let's talk about it right quick. Obviously, I know you talked about it and I talked about it, but we haven't talked about it together.
Mhm.
So the 53-man roster is here, is done, is finalized. Practice squad, everybody's good. I'm going to pull this up in a minute. What's your initial thoughts of that 53-man roster as it stands right now?
I mean, my initial thoughts is this is the best roster that we've had in years. I think we're pretty much stacked from top to bottom. Especially not just the starters, but that's why I say top to bottom because also our depth. I think we built solid depth in essentially all departments. I think the only weakness you might say would be the linebackers. I know many people have been talking about that we should get another linebacker, but y'all, I keep saying Dan Quinn don't really like linebackers. Like he likes his safeties. He likes to run 3-4 safeties on the field at a time. Y'all saw we carried 6, but they flipped Marquise Bell to a linebacker. So I guess now he's a linebacker. But essentially we carry 6 safeties on the roster and only 4 linebackers on the 53. So it just shows you what what Dan Quinn is valuing at this point. So, but other than that, I think we pretty much have solid depth uh, all around. Oh, I had one more. Also, the cornerback room after Deron Bland and Izzy McQuamu, it gets a little bit shaky because Eric Scott Jr. I think he may unfortunately be what we call a camp hero because he was turning up at camp, I remember, but it seemed like the game was just too fast for him during the preseason. And then you have, I forgot who else, Nashawn Wright, but he's on IR.
Right.
So we have a little bit of a depth issue. I know we added this new kid, Noah, from the Dolphins land. And hopefully, he's good. I know they say he had the best preseason he's had, but I didn't watch the Dolphins, so I don't know what he looked like in preseason.
Right.
We
You feel me?
right. We hope that he's good because if Trey or Gilly goes down, you know things are gonna have to move around. And I know we have Bland, we have Izzy, but after them, I don't feel like we have that great of a depth. But
What do you think about having Jordan Lewis back? They said he's fully healthy.
Oh,
They
that's
said,
you. Having Jay Lou back is huge. It's huge. I
yeah,
know many people wanted to kick Jordan Lewis off a bridge, but Jordan Lewis in 2021 was a top 3 slot cornerback. And y'all remember he was either he tied the team or I think he had 4 picks last season, and he actually got hurt while he was getting a pick. So Jordan Lewis is a pretty solid right, Trey. I agree with you, Trey, in the chat. Jordan Lewis is a dog, and he definitely, it'll be great to have him back. I know some people might have thought we would keep him on the bench and keep Bland. But I think it's smarter to roll out there with J. Lou and just have Bland there as a premium depth piece because that's essentially what Bland is. I mean, he was a candidate for defensive rookie of the year last season because he had 5 picks and only played half the season. So I just think it's great to have J. Lou back for sure. And I'm glad that he's able to start. He didn't have to start on the pup list.
Yeah, I agree. Now I hear what Trey's saying. Do you think I think Bland's going to start over J. Lou, and J. Lou's probably going to come off of death because he hasn't seen the field the whole camp, whole anything. I wouldn't trust me personally seeing him starting after I haven't seen him all of a whole year and a half. Seem like I feel like Bland is going to probably be that starter, and now you got Jordan Lewis as a key depth piece. And since he's already been a starter in this league or a starter on this team, if anybody were to go down, I feel like that would be a valuable flex piece. Now, I'm feeling you on that depth because, like you said, if one of those main guys go down, what are we looking at right here? But I think if Jordan Lewis is fully healthy, I feel a little better with Jordan Lewis than when you got Mukamo who can flex back and forth and, Mukama can play in that slot or play in that outside. Yep. You know what I mean? So seeing those two guys, and then as you said before, who else we got? We got Izzy, Bland, Nashawn,
Eric Scott.
Yeah, I would say let's go with Noah over Eric Scott Jr. because I feel you.
Right.
I feel you right now. I don't want to see no Eric Scott Jr. right now on the field. Because he was getting cooked up, Lord have mercy. He was getting cooked up, Lord have mercy. God bless your soul out there, Eric. But like you said, was feeling good in camp. But dog, when he got on that field, I was like, oh.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I did not like Eric Scott's film coming out of college. So I was actually surprised that they were saying that he was turning up at camp. But I was like, okay, well, maybe, we always have camp heroes. We got to see how they perform when they're under pressure. And it just seemed like the pressure was. I agree with you, Key. He said he should have been practice squad. Yeah, I did not have Eric making the roster. I had him on the practice squad, but he made it.
I think that, but you know what? That draft pick status helps you in Dallas when you get drafted, especially if you've been drafted, especially if they trade out and came back in the draft in the round, gave up a pick for you. You're making the squad.
Right.
Dallas
At
don't.
Least the first year.
You feel me? The first year. You ain't going if they trade a pick for you and in your rookie year, you ain't getting cut. You're gonna at least make that squad, and they're gonna give you every opportunity. To that's how Dallas does it. When you a pick, you will get every opportunity to try to be something. So I think they're looking at it like, well, the potential is there, but Lord, I don't want to see none of that potential right now at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just what Trey said, Eric Scott over Land and Bo. I mean, especially Lamb, we can talk about that right now because people are like, I hear some people in the streets like, man, come on, dog. What practice squad player what player that has been undrafted came and bit Dallas, in the bud, he was a guy that you weren't counting on him right now. What's the big deal? It's going to be okay. You ain't going to die. But this is what I'm saying. I'm going to get your thoughts on the Star. I have been saying this for a long time. Number one, about the draft of the defensive ends. I was saying, look at the defensive ends in this draft because Dallas needs some defensive ends. People are like, what? You don't need to draft no defensive end. I said, look, this class is deep. It's not an explosive class, but it's a deep class, and you need to probably get one or two because Dorrance Armstrong Jr. might not be there next year. Dante Fowler is not going to be there next year. DeMarcus Lawrence will be 32, 33 years old. How much can we continue to rely on that? And then Parsons is back and forth. We know Sam Williams, right? But obviously could be suspension. We don't know. And there's been some issues right there. So I'm worried about accountability now. Can we count on him? Yep. I feel like that's something that has to be looked at, and defensive end was a position you had to look at. And when you saw that potential of Land and you had other guys that you probably could have squeezed through, I just feel like Land could have been a building block for you in the future. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, with Isaiah Land, I know that he had a lot of promise, and I think he flashed a lot. I think it was in the Jags game, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That he flashed, and obviously I think he had like 18 sacks and
19
college.
in 2021.
He had 19 sacks. So I mean, he definitely has some attributes. in some traits that you definitely feel like you can develop, and keep him on the squad just to see if eventually, like you said, because how long is D Law gonna be here still? How long do you have Dorrance Armstrong, who is still here because Dorrance Armstrong is Mr. Reliable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I've been trying to push Dorrance Armstrong off a cliff, and people been trying to charge me up because they say he blocks punts and he does. I'm like, listen, I know, but I just feel like there's better premium pass rushers
Yeah, he's regular.
that we pass
He's
up
regular.
on.
He's regular.
Right. He's just a regular guy. And I get it. He puts in that effort, but I'm like, are we really just going to keep him around because he can block one punt or two a year? I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like one of the young guys maybe could be able to do that. My thing with Isaiah Land, I did not have him when I did my 53 projection. I didn't have him making it because I just thought that, well, who I know who I would push off a cliff, but who are we gonna remove? I feel like from the defensive end room in order for him to have a spot, because I'm like, they're not gonna take away Valami. I mean, Junior. Sorry, he wants to be called Junior, but Junior Fahoko.
Right.
Lawrence Armstrong is a lock. Sam Williams, even though his behavior, but he's still a lock. Obviously, you have D Law, Micah Parsons. So I just felt like, well, who? And I know people are saying, well, we could have got rid of Neville. I know we could have got rid of Neville, but I'm saying for Isaiah Land to get in the rotation, I just didn't feel like he was going to really get in the rotation. So I felt like, you might as well keep some other players over him that are actually going to play. But he got a point. Sam Williams got hurt now. So
already. And also now we had a show yesterday with my guy Mike White, and he's frustrated. I said, because we had back and forth. He said, you know what? You need to get rid of Dante Fowler Jr. He said he would have cut him. And I was like, nope, he ain't going to get cut because Dan Quinn loves some Dante Fowler Jr. Like, right. They follow each other. You feel me?
Right.
And I felt like with this being a potential all-in season, I don't feel like they would let go of that, especially with the 5 sacks last year in a short period of time and how he's been effective in games. What's your thoughts on that? Would you have did that? Would you have got rid of a Fowler or a Land? Hold up. Because Fowler's not going to be there next year, though.
That's true. Fowler's not going to be there next year, but we trying to win a Super Bowl this year, and we need proven players this year. I'm not going to get rid of Dante Fowler, a former first-round pick, former Pro Bowler, to replace him for this season with an undrafted free agent. I get that we want the unproven player because we can build him up, but I feel like on this roster, on the 2023 roster, we need as much proven players as possible. And I think that that's what the front office finally started to get in their heads, because it wasn't an issue of, we always get our young players. Our issue with the front office was, when are we going to get a couple of proven players to solidify spots? Because younger players, they may have all the talent in the world, but they don't have the experience. And that's one thing you need to win a Super Bowl. You need experience. So that's why we were so excited to have Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore. Both of those players have played in Super Bowls. Stephon Gilmore has won one, a former Defensive Player of the Year. So we needed to bring in guys that we know can perform right now. And I know we know what Fowler is. We know if we give Fowler snaps, he's going to get pressures and he's going to get sacks. With Isaiah Land, it's not, I do agree the kid has a lot of talent, but it's not like he was just wrecking. I can understand if Isaiah Land got like a sack, even just a sack per game or multiple pressures, or I don't know, from the Jaguars to the Raiders game, then I would get like, okay, this kid needs to be on the roster. But I just felt like I can't get rid of Dante Fowler approving for a kid who's flashed. Now, Isaiah Land, he could bite us in the butt. I don't know. Maybe the Colts defensive coordinator is going to turn him all the way up, and we're going to be crying sad tears. I still wouldn't regret it because, again, I'm going to go with the sure player than the potential. That's just my opinion.
I feel what you're saying now. This is what I was saying. I I think it was the last game they played with against the Raiders. He had the sack against Seattle, obviously,
Mhm.
but he was kind of quiet. But he had the sack, and then in the Raiders, you didn't really hear a lot, and so that's why I was like, "Ooh, he would." In my heart, I wanted to keep him. I wanted to figure out a way,
Yeah.
but in my heart, I was like, "He ain't." You're not talking about him crazily in these games, and he's going against second and third
That's what I'm
stringers. You
saying.
feel me?
Mhm.
So as much as we love Land, and I feel everybody on the potential
Right.
when we're talking about this season, and obviously they're going to draft some defensive ends
Yep.
next year. We know
Yep.
that's probably going to happen.
Mhm.
It just like he had, like, I agree with you, Star. He had to go crazy for it
Yeah.
had to be undoubtedly
Right.
undeniably say, okay, we cannot let him off the
We
roster
cannot let
at
him
all.
out.
Like he
Yep.
cannot get away. Like if he had 2, 3, 4 sacks, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
We
Then
can't afford it.
then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you know what? Hey, you got to get this guy. We're just gonna have to do it, and we're just gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah,
And
we
I
got
think that's what it is. And I think that's in their heart. We're like, maybe we can sneak him because he hasn't been
Yep.
blowing up the preseason. He's been good, but the problem is this:
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys are such a lightning rod of a team. Everybody is always watching us. So you feel me? We're a
Yep.
lightning rod, and whether all these other teams don't act like they don't watch us, yes, they do.
They are.
Especially the NFC East teams, they watching
Literally.
us like crazy, and
Right.
they love taking our players. I.e., you just seen
The real
Jabril Cox
guy.
over Washington.
Yep.
You just
Sure
seen
did.
whatchamacallit, who went over there
Dennis
with the
Houston
Giants.
went to the Giants. Dennis Houston.
Dennis Houston with the Giants. They love getting our players. I don't know if they want intel or whatever, but they love getting our former players. And
They
I
sure
just
do.
felt like because so many teams watch us and everybody in the media's been talking about Isaiah Land, somebody was scooping him up,
We
dog.
talked
What?
about him too much.
We
That's what
talked
we
about it too
did.
much. In my head, I was like, we need to shut up about
We
Isaiah Land.
talked
That's what
about
I made a big picture. I was like, I should have took that damn picture down on my Twitter. We should have shut the hell up. Everybody should have
You
just been
should have.
quiet. Just been like, man, Isaiah Land, he all right. He ain't.
Exactly. But
Yeah,
we
like,
was talking about him too much. Everybody was, he's gonna make the roster. This kid is undeniable. We talked about too much. And the
yep.
coach was like, we
Coach was
take
like, okay, yeah, okay. And Matt Eberflus used to be our defensive coordinator. He's the coach. You know what I'm saying over
over
there.
there.
So
Yeah. So y'all knew, y'all we hyped him up too much because it's not like we said, it's not like he wrecked preseason to where the whole NFL, like Deuce was almost, you could almost say he was like the preseason darling, right?
right.
The NFL posted him all over. They couldn't stop talking about him. Isaiah Lamb wasn't that, but we were just as a team so high on him. And of course, they hear our names and
They hear our cries
in the streets, and they got him. He was the only player too, the only player that didn't make waiver, that didn't basically he got
player waivers.
Yeah, player waiver. He was the only player.
And that's crazy. But I look at it like this. We got a couple other guys that were sneaky, I thought.
Mhm.
Darrell Johnson and Tyrus Wheat. I thought they both have potential.
Yep.
Mississippi State and Liberty, they both are back on the team. So I think, and then you got Fehoko Jr., I think who's going to be sneaky good too, because I'm going to keep it real. We needed a Samoan on the damn team. We needed a Samoan on the team because Samoan is different.
Yeah, Fehoko is different. The kid is violent. I love his hands and quickness off the line. And he was doing a lot of, I was seeing him getting pressures flying off that edge, but that's why we got him, because he displayed those same traits in college. Like, we needed a guy with that type of attitude. And I think he's Vita Vea cousin. Yeah. So we definitely needed a kid like that with that type of attitude. So I'm very excited about Junior Fehoko. I think he's for sure going to be on the field. And I know when I went into training camp last week, I don't think I saw Darrell, but I did see Tyrus, and Tyrus is huge. I'm like, I think this guy could be a potential another tweener like Junior Fehoko and Chauncey Golston. Because he has a very big frame. I'm like, I definitely could see him being like a 3-4 type of defensive end or whatever. So it'll be or a 3 tech. So it'll be interesting how Dan Quinn, the uses him. But I mean, I know he's on the practice squad, but if somebody gets hurt, they put him in the lineup. It'll be interesting to see how Dan Quinn lines him up for sure. So
Yeah, and I'm excited about Fehoko as well. Like I said, we needed a Samoan. He's an energy. He's a
yeah,
guy that doesn't stop. The motor is always going, and that's what I love about him. And I
yep,
think he'll learn that technical game too. The
yep,
more he's getting familiar with the game, he'll get more technical. And he's a big boy, like you said. You see the number 6'4", 267. He's almost 270 pounds.
he's a
Look at like you said, Tyrus Wheat. He's 260. So they got some big guys that can.
big
I
guy.
think they want to kind of set the edge too, not just guys that can like kind of in the mold of D Law, because we see D
Right.
Law is not to me like the greatest pass rusher per se, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a guy that can rush the passer, but he's a guy that can play the run. And I
Right.
think they're looking at guys like that who can not only just rush that passer, but they can set that edge in the run game. Because when we look at Dorrance Armstrong and even Dante Fowler, those to me are just strictly kind of rush guys. They're
Mm-hmm.
not guys that are not going to really kill, really set that edge in the run game. And I think that's in the mold of what the Cowboys are looking at down the line. And I think that's why you saw those guys get picked up the way they did
Right.
in the offseason and in the draft. So we'll
Yep.
kind of see about that. Well, let's go to the offense right quick, because I want to get your thoughts on Mozzie. How do you feel about Mozzie?
Mozzie, I think Mozzie. I'm glad everybody. Who wouldn't we trash after the Seahawks game?
Yeah,
Everybody,
yeah, 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 yeah.
no it, and he turned all the way up versus the Raiders. So, uh, I'm still excited about Mozzie. Of course, the kid, he's gonna have. He has some things to work on and things like that. But we got to remember, like when Mozzie in season is going to be playing next to Jonathan Hankins, Demarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Osa Digizua continuously. Like, so we're going to know that he's going to have that veteran help to help him be able to do his job. But I think Mozzie was actually, I know he had that kind of a down game versus the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, remember the issue that we said about Mozzie coming out was people were like, he seems like his motor, like some
Yes,
don't give his all on play stuff like
yes.
that. But then we had realized, oh, look at how many snaps. Y'all have to know in preseason, Mozzie was pretty much playing like
The
every
whole damn game.
taking him
He was-
off the field. So I was like, I think he's just a little bit for like in that Seahawks game. I think he was just like a little bit fatigued. I think it's
and
gonna
and
take
not to cut you off, and I'm gonna let you finish that. But in Seattle, the air is different too. Like, I mean, you're going on the West Coast. Everything is
right,
kind of different. The time frame. So I think that could have hurt too, because you're a 3 hour difference, and the time difference could have been different.
right.
But go ahead.
Right. You just know like these kids, they have to adjust, like, and but I really think like it was in that Seahawks game, it probably was just fatigue. And he's working on conditioning and training his body. We saw this week he's with Micah training, they're doing boxing stuff. So I really think that's what it is with Mozzie. It's just he's got to work a little bit more on his technique, which that's gonna come in time. And he's got to work on his endurance really. But we know he's got incredible strength. We know he definitely likes to. He's a play. He likes to make plays. So he's not just trying to hold up blocks. He's trying to get that ball carrier, which I think is great to have out of your nose tackle. Same thing for Jonathan Hankins. Jonathan Hankins. He's going to try to get the ball carrier. He got even though he's not a pass rusher or anything like that. But remember, he got a sack against Brock Purdy in the playoffs. So these are guys that are going to try to make plays, and I think Mozzie is going to be able to exhibit that throughout the season, while also taking up blocks. As y'all know, like Mozzie was having to fight a couple of some team were triple teaming him, so
Yeah.
he's having to fight through a lot. But y'all think there's a reason. There's a reason why the offensive coordinators were triple and double teaming him, because he really is a force to be reckoned with and kind of hard to block one-on-one. If he's losing a battle, it's not because of strength. It's likely because of a technical issue that he's having. But I think he's going to just continue to work and develop that, work with his hands and stuff like that. So and he's definitely just got the dog in him to where he wants to be great. So I know he's going to continue to just put in that work to get better and better. So
I agree. Now, this is my thing with Mozzie. In my opinion, you hit it on the nail, and I want to bounce off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is with Mozzie, I just need to make sure that motor's running hot all the time. Now,
Yeah,
I know he played a lot of snaps, and I feel you, but when I watched him in his tape and some things of that nature, when people were talking about, well, his get off, he takes a long time to get off the snap. His get off.
yeah,
I think number one, the wheels are turning because of the scheme was different in Michigan. So the wheels are turning when he straight comes off the line of
yep,
scrimmage, is that he's
yep.
kind of trying to think to what to do. And by that time he's thinking of what to do, the offensive line is already manipulating him in the
Manipulate them.
hole.
Yep,
But since he's so damn strong, you
yep.
still can't move that man. So even when the wheels are turning, you can't move him because he's so damn strong. So that's
Exactly.
his advantage. But I feel like the main thing I want with Mozzie, because I think he can be good to great if he continues to pass rush or come off the line of scrimmage with a sense of urgency. I think that's the biggest thing I want. If when he fires off the ball, because you can see it, there's times when
Mhm.
he'll fire off the ball and you're like, damn, okay, that's what we talking about. He just you see
Right,
all that
right.
strength pushing them in the back. But then
Yeah.
sometimes he's not coming off with the sense of urgency, and that
Mm-hmm.
allows the offensive linemen to get their hands on him,
Get their
double
hands
team
on
him,
them.
and like we talked about, manipulate him out the gap. And that's
Right.
what they're going to try to do because he has that strength. But if he can do that, I feel like it's going to be very good. But pairing him, even when I saw him with Big Bo, I will love it because I love to see him next to Hankins because they're putting him more at the three tech. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
where you can help his pass rushing ability. Because if you look at him from the backside and you saw Bohanna and you saw him, he
Yep.
did not look 332 pounds.
No, he doesn't.
You
He
feel
doesn't
me?
at all. And that's what's crazy about Mozzie because of his build. He's huge, but he doesn't look like overweight or anything. I don't know how to describe him, but he just looks like I don't know. He's just really a very
He's
strong.
athletic and compact.
Right. He's just a compact stacked dude. So he definitely I think I agree with you. If he can consistently work on that motor, firing off the ball consistently, and I think I think that's why Dan Quinn kept him in because that is only going to develop. He's just going to have to keep getting more reps. I mean, there's nothing else you can really do, but he just has to get used to it, the new stance and everything, because they've already said his stance in Michigan, it was not to pass rush, it was to stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
In Michigan, what were they great at? Stopping the run. They
Right.
were like the lead. Mozzie was, I forgot, I did like a whole show about it, but they were definitely topping the nation. Their defensive tackles were topping the nation in Michigan and stopping the run and all that stuff. So, Mozzie, we want him to develop that pass rush ability because we know he's got it. We saw what he was doing to Steve Avila in the TCU game. So he's definitely got the ability. It's just about putting it all together consistently.
Yeah, I feel you, and I'm excited to what we're going to see of him. And like I said, I feel like the arrow's pointing up. But let's talk about this kid right here, Wanye Thomas. I thought we was going to go to offense, but I said I can't forget this man right here.
Oh yeah,
This man right here, boy. When he got the first interception, I was like, "Who is that?" When he intercepted,
immediately.
I said, "Who is that?
Like,
Who's that number 30?" Like,
30?
and then I said, "Let me just kind of keep my eye on him." And everywhere, dude is just always around the ball. You could see him. He looked like he was. I mean, he was coming up to the line of scrimmage like he was talking to the defense, like he knew what was going on.
Right.
He was very animated when he was hitting people. He was in people's faces. Like you could see, like he had the attitude. You saw him just lead the team out of the huddle the last game.
Right,
and
game.
once I seen him lead the team like Overshawn, I said, "Yeah, he making the squad.
You ain't
lead
the team.
You feel me? And you ain't getting picked." And the crazy thing, he didn't even get drafted coming out of nowhere. What's your thoughts about him? Because I love this kid, and the story behind him is even crazier.
Yeah, like he shocked me because I knew Wanye was on the team, but I mean, we hadn't really heard his name or anything like that. I think during training camp we had heard Mike. I think Mike said Wanye, like he just has been phenomenal this offseason, but I mean that in training camp. But I wanted to see, of course, like we said, are you going to be a camp hero or are you going to bring that fire when we're actually you're playing a real life game? You got to be up to speed. And I mean, guns a blazing. The first drive, he picks off he picks off Trevor Lawrence. So I think, and then I think he was like top 5 on the team in tackles for the preseason and all that type of stuff. Uh, he was absolutely just everywhere. He was everywhere. Even that big catch that that tight end got on him versus the Jags, he was in perfect position. And he just seems to me, this is a typical Dan Quinn type of safety. Not only can he can cover downfield, but he also can come up and field. And that's why I'm telling you guys that Dan Quinn, why he really doesn't value linebackers like that as much, because what he asks his safeties to do. He needs his safeties to be able to cover on the back end, but also be able to come up, hit, and fill the gaps. And that's what Wanye was doing. So I'm definitely excited about him. I mean, clearly, I think he's going to have Dan Quinn's going to be able to sprinkle him in, because unfortunately our safeties, they don't ever get hurt for the whole season, but they tend to Dono, Curse, Hooker, they tend to face.
They get nicked up.
They get nicked up. So he definitely is going to be in the rotation and get some reps. And I just like his attitude of what he brings. He brings that fire, that dog on the field, and gets everybody else fired up, which is important because it's like the team fuels off of him, so they were fueling off of him on the field in preseason. So I'm super excited for him. I'm happy for him because to me, he came out of nowhere. I mean, he was on the practice squad last season. So for him to make the 53 and to perform how he did, I'm impressed, and I hope that we are able to see him get some snaps this season, because we don't know what's going to happen with Curse's contract. I know he wants to be here, and he's saying he's back to Clemson Curse and all of this stuff. But I don't know if the front office is going to re-sign him. So, we definitely are going to need, which they may just throw Overshown in that role. But what I'm saying is we're going to need as much safety depth as possible. And definitely, thank you, Quetta, being in the chat tonight. But we definitely going to need safety depth. So I'm excited for Wanye for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited too. And shout out to So Over It Star with the breakdown, enjoying you guys. We're enjoying you too. We appreciate y'all. 71 in the chat. We love y'all. Great start for our first show out there. Make sure you smash that like button wherever you're at. Facebook, on your Stars, on mine. Hit and smash that like button. And we love that. Now, obviously, the bad news was DeMarvion Overshown. It's so bad I don't even want to talk about it. Like it's so bad, Star, that I don't even want to mention him. That's how hurt I am with that injury. I mean, seriously, like I really don't even want to mention it because it's burning my soul when I just think about it, especially, Star, with what we were having with this season, right? What we were excited about with this defense, and then Overshown comes out of nowhere. We're like, oh hell no! We know our defense about to be crazy. We about to turn up on y'all with Over. That was my only thought. We about to turn up. Like you thought our defense was about to be good, great.
All the way up.
Overshown, we about to go turn all the way up, and just to see it, because check this out. I actually had fell asleep. When the game was going on. So I woke up and was like, dang, I got to watch the replay. But when I woke up in the morning, Star, and the first thing I saw, and it said Overshown with a possible ACL tear, I almost cried. Like, I'm being honest with y'all. I literally almost cried. What about you?
No, I think that was devastating. And just to see, because I was like, well, where's Overshown? When we drafted him, I said, I see why we drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't see, because of our, how we got Dono, we got Hooker, we got Curse. So I was like, I don't really see where necessarily he's going to play. And is he going to really play over Jabril? And, with the experience, is he going to play? Because y'all know that Overshown, he was safety for 2 years at UT before they converted him to a linebacker. And one thing I was concerned about from his film in college is his ability to like shed blocks and stuff like that. But seeing the way that he turned, first of all, he looked like he gained weight. Number one, I don't know how he gained all that weight that he gained just in one offseason, but he gained a lot of weight. He was just like a massive force in the middle of that field, just flying around everywhere. And I'm like, wow, this kid, the way that he was playing, especially with that chip on his shoulder, I was like, this kid could, depending, like he could have multiple interceptions, sacks. I mean, he could have potentially been a defensive rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah.
So when he went down, I mean, that was devastating because I hate that. I hate that for our rookies too, because it just sets them back. And we saw what happened to Jabril, right? You know, like when they get hurt like that, it sets them back, and it takes them a while. He's suffering an ACL injury, so it's gonna take him a while to get back to himself now. I don't know if he's gonna be flying around like he was before. We pray to God that he does, but it's just frustrating for us because we knew that the way he was playing, Dan Quinn had a plan for him this season.
Yes.
And for Dan Quinn to now convert Marquise Bell to a linebacker shows how important Overshown was going to be to this year's defense. So it was devastating. I mean, I was devastated and just sad for the kid, number one, because I know the way he was playing that he was gonna play like his hair was on fire this season. And for him to be out for the whole season, it's just a huge blow. But we pray that he can heal, get ahead of schedule, and he can be back, back like he never left, once we start next season. That's what we hope for him. But prayers to Overshown. Hope he keeps his head up, and at least, hopefully we can get the same kid we got in, once next season starts. So that's my opinion on him.
It just hurts right now because,
like
you said,
Uh-oh. I can't hear you, Big. Can y'all hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
There you go. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm good now.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, y'all. Had a little technical difficulties. Star was blowing her blocks and she blew up my microphone. So she was killing it with the breakdown and just messed my mic up. But no. But man, it just the one thing I will say about this, when you mentioned Jabril Cox and how his injury, one thing I'm gonna look at is Cox was kind of quiet. He wasn't really a guy that really said a lot. Where Overshown is this guy that has this personality, is vibrant, like he attacks everything. And that's the one thing I'm gonna feel good about, is that he's already said, I'm attacking this injury like it ain't no other, like I'm going hard. And that's what'll get me excited, that he's gonna attack this injury. And when I see athletes like him, usually when I see athletes like him, they come back and they are stronger because the way he's such an athlete with it. So I'm feeling a little bit better with him coming back with a reckless abandon. But I'm just so sad to see it this year because he could have just the blitzing, the excitement, just the
coverage. I mean,
so many things you could have did with him this year. So many things. Gonna be
that special weapon, that you can put him in so many different positions. So it just was very sad to see him go down like that. And I agree with you. He to me, he had that spirit of Damone Clark. Because y'all remember had Damone Clark literally had back surgery. right before the freaking draft and was able to get on the field by October. Overshown, even though it's a different injury, so it's obviously going to take him longer. But Overshown to me has that same mindset of I'm going to be the first one in, the last one out. I'm going to do whatever I can to get back on this field as fast as possible. And usually when you have people like that that are willing to go above and beyond to get their bodies back right, they do come back stronger. So I definitely agree with you on that, Big, for sure.
Yes. Now let's hit this offense right quick. Any surprises for you on offense as you've seen it on this 53-man roster? Hunter Luepke, offensive lineman, going short with it. We got the Harlow kid from the Giants. What you think?
Yeah, I think the only shock to me was, and it's not really a shock, but I had him making the roster, was Simi. I had Simi making the roster because
you had Simi making the roster. How'd you have Simi making the roster?
Because I had us carrying 7 wide receivers.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had us carrying 7. So I thought Simi was, and I had Neville not making it. I had us carrying 3 tight ends, but I said Henny wasn't gonna make it. But I did say it would make more sense to cut McEwen, because McEwen is valuable to us, but nobody else in the NFL cares about him. So I'm like, you can put him on a practice squad.
Because Henny would be gone in the snap of a finger. If you cut him, he'd have been gone.
Because of his upside, Henny's gonna be here because he is that type of like hybrid wide receiver-ish tight end and stretch the field and stuff like that. But I had Simi making it because I was like, Simi, he was good in OTAs, beginning of training camp. Had that injury, was looking terrible in training camp. Then we get to preseason, and I'm like, he's reliable. He's catching the balls that are coming his way. But I'm like, it seemed like, what are these? He's only doing like quick outs or screens. It didn't seem like the play calling was very creative with him. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe Mike, has this special plan for Simi, and they're just like not trying to expose like what they really want to do with him. So I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe and we stashed him last year. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe there's a plan for Simi, so he's going to make the roster. But I mean, clearly there was no plan. Simi He's just not it, unfortunately, in our offense. I think they said he got picked up by the Steelers or something.
Yeah, he could have went. I mean, he looks like a Steelers guy because he looked like the kid that they got rid of and he got traded.
Right.
You know exactly what I'm talking
about.
What's his name? It's on the top of my head because I know Dallas was looking at him too.
Yeah, y'all tell me.
Came out of Notre Dame. Yep. Y'all tell me because I know y'all know. But yeah, Simi project was over. I said he wasn't gonna make the team in the very beginning. I'm sorry.
Everybody was out on Simi.
I'm sorry, and I ain't hating on Simi, but I just feel like the hands just ain't. Yes, Claypool. Yes, I said you remind me of Claypool. When I look at you, if you go over Pittsburgh, you look just like him in my opinion. I feel like you are Claypool. You know what I'm saying? So they got Claypool part 2 if they go over there. So hey, I hope it works out for him. I hope he continues his career, but I just feel like what, the 3-year project, we've seen what it is. Jalen Brooks came in, really grabbed hold of that position, in my opinion. You saw the strong hands, and I thought that was the biggest difference for me. He played very strong, whereas Simi did not play strong to me.
Right.
With that body and that size of his, I didn't feel like he played strong enough, and too many guys outbodied him from the cornerback position. But when I saw Jalen Brooks, he played physical. He caught the ball physically with his hands, and I feel like that is one of the reasons why you wanted to go with him. And he just looked like he's the type of receiver that he can go mid. He's one of those solid mid-range guys. He can really eat you up on the inside.
Absolutely.
And so I just felt like the Simi project was over.
I agree with you, Big. I think for Simi, for his size and his speed, we expected him to be able to stretch the field, and he really struggles. He really struggles with one-on-one deep balls. He just could never come up with it. It didn't matter who was covering him.
I don't want we throwing the Simi. It's a 3rd and 15, and we throw it to Simi. He dropped it. No, I can't do it.
He just could not ever come up with it. So, unfortunately, he just was not able. What we saw from him in Stanford, and we were excited about. We were so excited, because we're like, dang, I remember clips of him coming out of Stanford, him bowling people over and all of this stuff and getting some deep balls and stuff. We thought like, oh, we got us a steal here in the 5th round when we drafted him, but it just seemed like he just never panned out. So like we said, hopefully in Steelers land, they're very short, intermediate type of route, type of wide receiver team. So hopefully he's able to do something over there. But I know for what we were looking for, and y'all saw the way, if y'all watched the press conference, how Mike was talking about, we got speed though. Like Mike is so happy that we got quick guys that can stretch that field. It's gonna be I feel like our offense, because we only saw, of course, the watered down version of our offense. I think we got so much speed and playmakers on our offense and our starting lineup. I'm very interested to see the packages and things like that Mike and Schottenheimer are going to roll out, because I think it's going to be something quite unique.
I agree, and I agree with Benjamin right here. What he just said, he said Simi was a 4-4 guy, but he never looked like it on the field, and that was it to me. Like, you saw the speed, but it seemed like he never played to it. He never played to it.
Yeah.
And just like I said, it just seemed like corners could out physical him with that size and the body he had, and they were talking about moving him to tight end. Hey, I'm like, how you? I was like, he can't even move out corners. How the hell is you gonna talk about doing that? Hey, shout out to my dog Rome in the house. Shout out to my dog Rome. Cowboy
what up, Rome?
What's up, Rome? Yes, sir. Appreciate you, dog. Go make sure. I know I ain't gonna sit there and say go follow Rome, because he's the Cowboys man. So exactly. I know you feel me? Y'all know Rome, because that's the Cowboys man. He said, I'm the Cowboys voice going forward. I said, I ain't gonna argue with you. So shout out to Rome over there, killing it, doing your thing over there. We love you like no other, and keep on killing it out there like you've been doing, Rome. We appreciate you like no other. We can't wait to get together this weekend as well. So what do you think about, because we're getting ready to talk about Trey Lance right quick, because we're getting ready to end it up put it on a bow. But what do you think about Hunter Lukey, the darling of that Raiders game, and the fact that Dak Prescott, when he was calling that offense, he went to him specifically a lot in that game. So that told me a lot more than anything else, how Dak was calling the game, but how he featured Hunter Lukey as well.
Oh, yeah. Hunter Lukey. Now, I saw him training camp last week, and I said, this kid is giving me, I said, he kind of gives me like Derrick Henry vibes, but Derrick Henry is not a pass catcher like Hunter Lukey is, because Hunter Lukey can really catch that ball. Y'all saw that when Will Greer threw that left-handed throw, and Hunter Lukey was kind of like an off throw, but Hunter Lukey still caught it and got us, I think, like a yard or two or something like that. Hunter Lukey is showing you just how it's like, how are y'all going to be able to guard all these people? Because the thing is, we're going to be able to use him on wheel routes, quick outs, leaks. You know what I'm saying? Like, the kid is going to be so dynamic, and he's a big kid, but he has little man feet. So he's very agile, like really, like seriously, like he can stop on dimes. He's very like shifty. So he's even different, because Derrick Henry is more so, I'm running through you type of guy, and I'm fast, But Hunter Lukey, like he's got wiggle to him. So it's gonna be, we clearly have packages for Hunter Lukey. And now it just means that Dak has another safety valve, so that if things are, if the play breaks down, we're going to have Hunter Lukey, Deuce Vaughn, Tony, somebody that's going to be leaking out, getting out on that perimeter. So to get that first down, to get that, that third down, to get what we need. So it's really like, how are y'all going to develop with him having his ability, his skills? It's like, how are y'all going to be able to guard everybody on this offense? That's what I'm thinking. Adding a guy like that, because we kind of had Sean McEwen playing in that role, the fullback role last season.
But it wasn't no explosive like no Hunter Lukey, like you saw. You're like, oh, okay, we can see why we can see why you cut McEwen now, because like you said, he wasn't nothing special. He was a guy the Cowboys love, but everybody else necessarily
Right,
didn't
not
love
worried
him.
about him.
Hunter
Yeah, he's just
Lukey, if you let him go, other people would have loved him because they'd have been like,
oh,
"Oh,
we
ho, hell no!"
have
Oh,
oh, Ravens,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Browns, the Titans.
yeah,
He would have been
yeah.
gone so fast.
He would not, because people were like, "Oh, Hunter would have made it through." No, the hell
No,
he
he
wouldn't.
wouldn't have.
Not
No,
after we just highlighted him and he went undrafted and somebody would have got him for the cheat. Hell no, they'd have scooped him up as soon as they cut him. They'd have been like, "Scoop up."
He was gone. I mean, guys, he got over 100 yards. And I don't even know how many. And that's just from, I think, running the ball. I don't know how much he had, from catching. So the kid is dynamic. Based on what he did versus that Raiders game, he was not going to be on nobody practice squad. If we cut him, he was going to be gone. Just like Isaiah Lance. So,
just like Isaiah
Lance.
Lance.
He could have been. And could y'all imagine if the Commanders or the Giants or the Eagles picked him up?
Man,
Absolutely not.
I'd have been pissed. Like,
absolutely.
Everybody would have been talking about that all day and all night. Like, absolutely. What the hell is going on here? What did y'all do that for, man? You know what I'm saying? But I got Deuce Vaughn up here as well. So when we look, and Hunter wasn't even drafted, and thank God we got him. That was a great look from the draft team, Will McClay. Yeah. But Deuce, we got Deuce Vaughn. Obviously, he doesn't have the height, but we saw what he can do, how he could be electric, and I feel like he's going to be electric for this offense too. And just like you said, we finally have speed. We finally have electricity in that offense. We finally have some juice because we didn't have juice besides Tony Pollard. If we're talking about just the speed aspect of the team, that was our only juice. Now with Brandon Cooks, who we didn't even see, and he got juice. We've been seeing him, and you saw him at practice when you went up there. He got the real juice still.
Yes, he does.
I think he's going to be. I think we could have 2,000-yard receivers in this offense, in my opinion, with Lamb and him. Okay, and I just feel like Tony Pollard can have like another career year in this offense because we're going to be getting him in space. That screen game, we saw a little bit of the screen game, then they kind of chilled with it because I was like, "Oh, they're showing too much. Stop showing all them damn screens because we're gonna be killing
exactly." We were showing a lot of screens.
I was like, "Stop showing all them damn screens because we're gonna be killing fools with that screen game because we couldn't do a screen for to save our life with Kellen Moore." But I'm seeing real life, real screen game with us, and I'm loving it because dumping off the Deuce Vaughn or a Luke if he came in the game, or oh my God, I just feel good about it and I'm excited about it. But as we get ready to close, Ms. Star, gotta ask you about this trade, and you know what I'm about to talk about. Mr. Trey Lance. Everybody on Twitter and the haters of Dak are going out of their mind. Watch out, Dak, because if you messed up, now we got Trey Lance. He gonna do this, he gonna do that. Booty, 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 boo. What's your thoughts about Trey Lance as far as the trade, what they gave up? What do you think is the future, and do you think this has some Dak? Does this anything to do with Dak? What's going on?
This is what I think. So initially, before I found out, Jerry didn't even talk to Mike or Dak before getting him. Before I found that out, I was like, wow, like front office is doing stuff they ain't never done. They ain't done in years. Like you gonna make a trade because we had realized 2 games in with Will Grier, he was not it. And I was expecting Will Grier to push Cooper Rush. But from the performance, till Dak called plays and made him look like Will Mahomes. But other than that, he didn't look good at all. So I was like, wow, we're going to get this kid. We're going to develop him. Hopefully we can push him to quarterback 2. And then potentially, if contract talks go totally south with Dak, there can be an agreement made. You have somebody in the wings to take over the spot. Or you can do like they did in Patriots land when they had Jimmy Garoppolo. They trained him behind Tom, and then they were able to sell him to the 49ers for good draft capital. But now, how Jerry, I know he gave two conflicting stories. He said first he's not going to have much involvement at all. Then he said he is going to have involvement. Here's my concern. And this is what I think Jerry is doing. Jerry and Steven, obviously, and I'm going to just say Jerry, because I really think Steven wants to sign Dak today. But I think this is Jerry being Jerry as he always is. I think Jerry got Trey Lance because he wants to put some type of psychological, even though we know Dak is one of the toughest. I mean, what Dak has experienced as a quarterback and still be able to play at that level he plays, we know Dak is one of the most mentally tough players in the NFL, period. But I think Jerry did this just to have in the back of Dak's mind, hey, if you don't win it all this year, because y'all, Jerry, they did what we've been asking to do for years. They got rid of Keller. He got rid of his golden boy. He not only got rid of his golden boy and Kellen Moore, he gave play calling to Mike. Let Mike Hyde get all of his boys in, fire everybody, get everybody he wants in, his whole staff, give him complete control. And then on top of that, they fixed holes with proven players who are still able to play well. Not people who are washed, but people who are still playing a high level. So I think Jerry did this. Say, hey, and I think this trade has implications not just for Dak, but for Mike as well. I think this is Jerry saying, Dak and Mike, y'all better win the Super Bowl this year. Because if y'all don't win a Super Bowl this year, I'm going to be out on you, Mike, because Jerry's not going to concede power for long. Y'all know how Jerry is. For Jerry to concede any power is crazy. And he pretty much gave Mike McCarthy the keys to the team this year. Like, gave him the full keys. But he's not going to allow that for long term unless results are produced. Because I think Mike was able to get him to fire Kellen by telling him, this is the problem. We know who the problem is. Let's get rid of him. Let's fix it. So Jerry's expecting results. If he doesn't get the results that he wants, which is based on the moves that he made, a Super Bowl, I think what he's going to do is he's likely going to fire Mike. Once he's going to likely get rid of Mike, and he's also going to bring in another coach who's going to develop and possibly try to bench Dak. And I say, listen, if Dak, because I know how Dak's contract is, right? Because he has a no trade clause and all that stuff. I know that. And I know how much we owe him. We owe him $59 million. But I'm trying to tell y'all, Dak, the no trade clause doesn't mean Dak can't be traded at all. It just means you cannot trade Dak unless he approves. If Jerry tries to bench Dak on some BS or tries to meddle and trying to make it a QB controversy, let's let Trey Lance get some snaps and then let's let Dak. If he starts doing that type of BS, Dak is going to be out of here. Because I don't think Dak is going to put up with that type of disrespect. Knowing his skill set and knowing that he can go to many other teams, get paid top dollar and be the starter, I don't think that Dak, and y'all going to excuse my language, but I don't think Dak is going to allow Jerry to bitch him out. I really don't. So I really think a lot is riding on the Trey Lance kid. And I'm not going to crap on Trey Lance. He's a part of our team now. We need to be rooting for him. I was happy when we brought him in because I think Mike can develop him. And I think he can really, at least be quarterback 2 for us. I prefer, y'all already know, I'm a Dak lover. I say it. I don't care. Like, I love Dak. So I want Dak to be our quarterback till he decides to retire. But if it happens that he doesn't, and Trey Lance takes over, we still have to support him, So I get some people are saying, like, let's not take a crap on him just because we love Dak. I do get that. But I do think that, like, if y'all have to know that if we lose Dak and if we lose Mike, it's our team is gonna look totally different. And we could potentially get sent because we're hoping that Trey Lance becomes something, but we don't know. What we do know is Jerry not good at evaluating quarterbacks because didn't he want who he want? Johnny Manziel,
Paxton Lynch.
Paxton Lynch. Like
Jerry ain't no football guy to me. I'm gonna just keep it real.
Quarterbacks, guys. He just saw Trey Lance. You talk about the number 3 pick from 2021. Let's get him immediately because he knew the type of media frenzy that it would cause. But yes, it definitely was a leverage move, not so much financially, but just to put pressure on Dak to like, hey, if you don't do what we are expecting you to do this year, we do have this young kid here that can take your spot. It's more so of a mental thing. And like I said, Dak is not going to sit and be a backup. I mean, I wouldn't want Dak to sit on
I'm going to tell you right now, Dak's not going to do that because, first of all, just by the contract he negotiated with Todd France with the no trade clause, no, you can't tag him again. This was a specific type of contract to me to say, Thank you for the money, but I don't trust y'all. So I'm protecting my whole self of my contract now because I don't trust what y'all gonna do to me.
Right.
Now I've been saying this for years. Now I don't know if they're not all in on Dak. I think Stephen Jones feels good about Dak, but
I
I
just think
always said Jerry,
Jerry. It's Jerry.
Jerry is always doing something. And I don't know because they were
Always.
saying Jerry was the one that was going through the building. Dak is our franchise guy, right? Dak is our franchise guy. He's our guy, right? He's our guy. That was Jerry asking that. So I don't know if Jerry 100 billion% believes Dak is going to do it. And to your point, I will agree that these next 2 years, because they're saying the contract negotiation is in the works. That's what I hear. Let me see what that contract, if you guys extend it, looks like. Okay, because I need to see what it looks like when it pertains to Trey. Because when I heard Jerry saying, "Hey, on this interview, hey, we're talking about getting ready to Trey Lance." Okay, you know what? We're going for it. You outbid Buffalo. You outbidded about a
Jerry
couple other.
outbid. He don't outbid nobody.
And there was teams that were trying to give him lower, but he went higher. So that tells you if he went higher than those other guys, then he must really want him. Now, Jerry is 80, about to be 81, so I don't really listen to what he be talking about no more. But what I do know is like he loves to keep them Cowboys in the media, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And now guess what? Everybody's talking about them Cowboys again and this thing. So I'm just going to look at really, to me, really how this contract negotiations go. Because I agree with you. This was an all-in year.
Yep.
You went and traded. We ain't never seen, well, I ain't going to say never seen, but I ain't seen under Stephen Jones and them how they hoard those picks. I ain't seen them go out there and get real players with picks. Real players. Usually they'll spend a draft pick and we're like, who is this? Or they'll pick somebody and we're like, who the hell is this? They actually went out and got rid of their draft capital and actually got real players. They got a defensive tackle in the first round in over, 30 years? Almost 30 years. You get what I'm saying? You got rid of Kellen Moore. You got people. So if this doesn't feel like all in to me, how else can it not be?
Yeah, and how else? Like, what
how does this not? And so now I'm looking at it like they're watching to see what happens this season. Yes, Trey Lance, they're probably Trey Lance, she ain't doing nothing right now. But if we don't win this year, not saying a Super Bowl, but if we don't make serious advancements like to the championship game or possibly the Super Bowl, this team is going to look hella different next year. Next year. Just next year.
They're going to blow it up big. I try to tell y'all.
They're going to blow it up because I've been saying that this team is going to look different. Now, I don't know if the Mike McCarthy, I don't know if he lets him go. I think I need to see this year how it happens. How this year plans out and how we play, because if we go to playoffs and get mollywopped, it's going to be bad news. You get what I'm saying? It's going to be bad news. So I'm really looking, but this is a huge year for Dak, the team, and now he has Trey Lance, and now I feel like you saying that, we ain't doing nothing with Trey Lance right now, okay? We ain't doing nothing with him right now, but he right here. He right here.
Exactly. That's what this move is. He's right here.
And he ain't had that. Cooper Rush wasn't no threat.
Right.
Will Greer, Andy Dalton, none of them guys. Garrett Gilbert, none of them guys were threats. Now this could be a threat. Correct. And now Dak is going to be a professional and help this young man get his game together. Because that's what Dak does. And that's who he is. But at the end of the day, yes, they are looking at this trade. I just don't, in my opinion, believe that Dallas don't, in my opinion, do this, Star. They don't get a player like him who was a first rounder. They had a second round grade on him when he was coming out of college to pick him, develop him, just to flip him. I don't see that as the Dallas way. I just don't think that's the Dallas way. They're looking at this could be a potential future guy. Exactly. If things don't work out with the season, with how it plays out, or with this contract negotiation, now we have somebody who could possibly
take over the reins.
And that's what I felt like they were wanting to do for a while. I mean, they did it with Romo. They did it with other players.
Right.
And like I said, Dak's had some injuries. I don't know if it's that, but Dak has some injuries the last 2 or 3 years. And I have mentioned
Yep.
that for numerous times that
Yep.
has happened. So you never know what can happen. But this is going to be an interesting season to say nonetheless,
right.
just on that aspect from what we're talking about with that. So
yep.
it's gonna be crazy, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm not mad at what they did because I feel like that's the responsibility of your organization. Always keep your team competitive. But
right.
Jerry just needs to be quiet, in my opinion. Stop talking. Stop
like,
talking about Trey Lance.
Jerry.
Don't talk no more about Trey Lance. Be quiet and just let him sit and let him learn.
Right.
And don't start no gaslighting and don't start no fires that don't need to be started.
Exactly.
Don't derail our season by talking about no Trey Lance.
Don't try to force Trey Lance into game plans either,
Be quiet.
Jerry.
Be quiet.
Because that's another thing. I'm like, is Jerry going to start? Because we know Jerry loved to meddle. Are you going to start trying to force Trey Lance into game plans, Jerry, to build up controversy? Like, please just let us have our season with Mike in full control. We got to focus on it. But yeah, it's a lot riding on this season, guys. Like, because if we don't get past the at least make it to the NFC Championship, our team is going to look drastically different. And you can just tell by the way the players are talking and stuff. They know that. They know that if we don't make it this year, there's going to be a lot of changes. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of change. I mean, this could potentially be D-Law's last season with us. You're talking about offensive linemen. You could have Zach Martin, Tyron Smith retired. I think this is for sure Tyron Smith's last season. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of change in parts. So it just means a lot to us. And Jerry did this whole Trey Lance thing for what he always do. He wants to bring controversy, but I'm like, if we can just focus on this season and just really hone in on this season, because it really just comes down to the results of the season. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna see. We gonna see. It's gonna be an interesting ride, to say the least. Obviously, we're going. Okay, there we go. Can you still hear me, Star?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay. We're going to talk about that Giants game because we're gonna have our show again next week before the Giants matchup. So get ready for that. That's going to be really good. We'll break down the Giants, what they look like, what the Cowboys are going to look like as we get ready for our first week 1. It's right around the corner. I'm excited. It's finally here. This year felt like forever, Star. I think because the anticipation, because a lot of us, we seen, oh damn, they got active in free agency. Oh damn, they actually made trades. Oh damn, they drafted a defensive tackle.
Like, what is going on? Yeah.
So the anticipation of it is got me excited, but nervous as hell. Because I'm like, I don't say we're going to be good. Don't nobody tell us we're going to be good. Say us will be the underdog, because I don't want nobody saying we're good, because we always seem to don't meet those expectations. So just be quiet about Dallas. Say we suck. Say we ain't no good. Say we trash. Say we gonna be 8 and 9. Say a first round exit. Say all that because I need all that energy for us to do good. Because if you're saying, oh, look at Dallas now, don't say that about us, please, because I just don't want none of that. But it's gonna be exciting. But I appreciate you.
You cut out again. No, I can't hear you. Can y'all hear him in the chat? Let me see.
Yeah, I'm good. Am I good now?
Good now. Yeah, you're good now.
My this freaking cord, I got to get a new cord. Y'all tripping on me, man, but I'm gonna get that together. But excited.
Cut out again. God. No, still cut out. It's a short. Yeah, it's out.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I think. Yeah.
Am I good now?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I'm gonna get it corrected, but at least it went out at the end and not the beginning, so I'm good about that. Shout out to Dwayne Brown for the $10 Holly. Said out eating with the wifey, music playing in the background, can't hear you, but I had to stop by and hear my support. Appreciate you, big dog. Love that. Miss Charles coming with the $20 holler. To my big brothers for supporting you, I like always, and we love your support. My Sadiq been there forever. She's
Yep.
my sis. I love her to death, and we appreciate all y'all, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all continue to chime in every Thursday. This looks like this is going to be our time as we get ready to do the Big Star Show. Great week one, episode 1 in the books, and we got more big shows ahead. So make sure you continue to support this. Go support Star's channel as well. She's, like I said, an up and comer in the game. We need to continue to get her more subscribers, all that, get her numbers up. So if you mess with me, Big Game James, get on over to her page, hit that smash subscribe button, all that. Follow her on Twitter, and let's get it popping over there for her as well. And I'm just excited for what we're going to do. Any last words before we get out of here, Star?
No, just thank you guys for rocking with us tonight. Like Big said, please help me grow my channel and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at stargazer_sports. Follow me on Facebook at Stargazer Sports Media, and also on Twitter. It's at the Stargazer, but instead of a E, it's a 3 in Gazer, and then it's 2 R's at the end. But I appreciate you guys so much. Love you guys, and see you next Thursday. So.
All right, we'll see you guys next Thursday. For myself, Big Game James, Miss Stargazer Sports Media, we'll be talking